Beep beep. Welcome to the Court of the EDI Jester. I hope you are well. It's great to see you, and thank you for engaging with my last couple of videos. This is a thread, isn't it? There's a thing going on here. It's a thing. Doing a thing, as they say. So let's keep going with the thing. I've got an article from Steve Edgerton in the Telegraph, and you'll know from my last two videos that I was addressing the question of social transitioning in schools and the importance of eradicating gender identity ideology, queer theory, and all the rest of it from the school system, and that in the last one I concluded that there probably needs to be legislative attempts to do so it's going to have to be statutory, I think, but we're moving forward all the time and see what happens next. So become a warrior teacher, buy me a coffee, become a yes right, click subscribe. Let's keep going, folks. Let's keep going. And if you can do, please share this series. So I'm going to put this down as part 3 of the series, I think, which is about social transitioning of children. So part 1, part 2, and part 3. This is part 3. And it comes from an article from Steve Edgerton on the 16th of December, 2023, from the Tory Graph, which is all right. We like a bit of the Tory Graph. And it mentions the work of Sex Matters, Maya, Helen, and the team. As you know, it's Sex Matters, very important group doing work here in this field. So very pleased to see them mentioned. And the title goes like this: Social workers accused of teaching trans ideology as fact to vulnerable children. The horrifying thing about this is this, right? I said, I think it was this morning, or whenever it was, teachers have got to call, safeguarding as soon as the trans ideation begins. Safeguarding red flag. Oh, well, that's great. Who are you going to call? If social workers are teaching them a trans ideology as fact, who are you going to call? This is the pipeline revealed, people. If your children are teaching this crap, you need to start thinking about home educating. I know it's tough, but you need to start thinking about home educating. Campaign group Sex Matters says dangerous and unscientific guidance issued by independent body needs to be scrapped and rewritten. It's all at the level of policy. See, that's where Sex Matters are best. They grab them by the policy balls and shake them till they scream. Don't you, Maya and Helen? Get them by the policy balls. Guidance for social workers seen by the Telegraph suggests asking vulnerable children as young as 13 whether they are transgender and what their transgender identity is. I want these people in front of a judge. The guidance for social workers dealing with children in the family courts suggests asking children that this is some of the most vulnerable children. I know what it's like to be a vulnerable child in the family court. I remember it very well. Well, there wasn't even a family court then, it was just a court. The guidance for social workers dealing with children in the family court suggests asking children 13 and above. Your parents have told me that you are a girl, boy. Is that what you think too? You imagine a little fey boy, just like me, or Dennis, or Clive, or any of us for that matter. Here's a way out of your pain. Other questions suggested include asking about children's sexuality, sexual orientation, and gender identity. Mind your own damn business. The concept of transgender children is disputed by some. There's a fact there's no such thing as trans children. Why are we still arguing over that one? Helen Joyce, Director of Advocacy at Sex Matters, a campaign group for women's rights, told the Telegraph this official guidance for social workers on transgender children is dangerous and unscientific. It ignores the growing evidence of social contagion, abuse, and mental health issues as factors in the growing number of vulnerable children questioning their gender identity. At-risk children would be further harmed by official advice that social workers teach and present trans ideology as fact. No government document should signpost anyone to the controversial charity Mermaids, or dismiss parents as bigots if they reject the extreme medicalised approach of gender clinics in favour of supportive open-end therapy that explores all their children's issues. There is no such thing as a transgender child. Dr. Hilary Cass, who is investigating the huge increase in the number of children suffering gender distress or confusion, does not use the term, since most such distress and confusion is temporary. God, that's good to hear. This guidance needs to be scrapped and rewritten to be compatible with the findings of the CAS review. CAFCAS, which is the Children and Family Court Advisory and Support Service, CAFCAS, has become overly influenced. The guidance comes from them, CAFCAS, an independent body which is under the Ministry of Justice. CAFCAS practitioners act as social workers representing children in family disputes in the courts. I mean, you can just see what this will do. It's bad enough as well when you've got the children and one parent weaponises the child, or a CAFCAS source said, "We work with some of the most vulnerable children in society, those experiencing abuse, neglect and parental conflict. Asking these children whether they are trans or about their sexuality is inappropriate and could be considered grooming." I consider it grooming. I'd consider it grooming, but it's, not important. But the sexuality of the child is immaterial. The trans thing's not so immaterial, but it's immaterial unless it's material. Does that make sense? I.e., the parent, the mother and the father arguing with the fact that they want to trans their bloody child, and the father saying, no, we'll trans the child, or the parent saying, yes, we'll trans the child. That's where the court should go. There's no such thing as a trans child, by the way. They consider it grooming. CAFCAS has become overly influenced by transgender activists, and this is having a harmful impact on children who we are meant to protect, not push transgender ideology onto. CAFCAS has issued several documents for staff on the topic of transgender children, including one called Knowledge Bite, published in June 2021. Oh dear, which is specifically about talking to children and young people about their own diversity. We need to get these buggers out, don't we? EDI needs to go. Get rid of it. I don't care what they call it. DEI, EDI, social emotional learning, cognitive bum pipe travellers. I don't care what they are. Get it out, right? In a section on talking to young people about sexuality and gender identity, the guidance says, in a small minority of cases, a parent may expressly forbid us to talk to their young person about an aspect of their diversity. See, this is all woke speak. An aspect of their diversity, in which case a professional judgment will need to be made about whether it will be necessary, proportionate, to ask the court to direct that we are able to discuss all issues with the child. The document continues. When working with young people aged 13 upwards, practitioners should ask the young person about their sexuality and gender identity, or record a defensible decision if they decide not to ask a young person over this age about these aspects of their identity. If younger children raise with us the issue of their sexuality or gender identity during general discussions about diversity, then we should explore it in the same way as below. Stop talking about diversity. Get these people out. Diversity is immaterial. Social workers are told to consider sharing your pronouns at the start of their conversation with children and are referred to the controversial trans charity Mermaids. Oh my gosh. It continues. Go and have a look. As per usual. In the comments section, do let me know your thoughts on this. Once more, I think this is a conversation that must be kept going and is being done so, obviously, by Sex Matters, Transgender Trends, Safe Schools, Our Duty, Bayswater, all these fantastic groups doing work on this. But they still need us, they still need you, and they still need me, and they still need members of the public who aren't attached to any of this to take part wholeheartedly in the upcoming public consultation on what schools should be told about gender. Educate yourself, folks. Share this. Get people to get to know what's going on, to understand what's happening. Reach out. Talk to others on Twitter. That's the best place because that's where all the information is. And start speaking up in your communities. I recommend it highly. Start speaking up and saying, no, we've had enough. This is not going to happen. Because from what I can see over the last few videos that I've done, what we've got is the child screwed, the child screwed, the child screwed. Especially if they're gay or lesbian. I'll see you later.